this is not about abortion. This is not about LGBTQ rights. This is about power and control over our bodies. There are so many different ways where you can act, but we need to act. As a Latina, as an immigrant, as a lawyer, as a human rights activist, as a someone that believe that a better world is possible, I cannot stay silent. I do think the hope has to be in the people, and the people need to call all of our policymakers and make them accountable for what we voted them to do.
Sabrosura pa' ti que qué.
Hola everyone, welcome back to Café con Pam, the bilingual podcast que comparte nuestras historias sin censura. El día de hoy tenemos una conversación con Elida Caballero. She's a senior director of campaigns and advocacy programs at WEC, where she leads efforts to advance reproductive rights in Latin America through legal, political, and communication strategies. Since joining the Women's Equality Center in 2020, Elida has focused particularly on El Salvador, Honduras, Chile, y Mexico, working to ensure the most vulnerable populations can access reproductive justice. Elida is a Panamanian lawyer who previously served as senior advocacy advisor for Latin America and the Caribbean at the Center for Reproductive Rights. She's also worked at the World Bank Group with a multilateral investment guarantee agency and health departments across South Asia and Latin America. Her early legal career, which we'll talk about, included roles at the Mission of Panama to the OAS, the Embassy of Panama, and the Academy of Human Rights and Humanitarian Law at American University. Elida holds a law degree from Universidad Santa María la Antigua and an LLM from American University Washington College of Law. Listeners, esta conversación con Elida was amazing. It was a lot, and at the same time, we didn't have enough time. And I really enjoyed how she describes how she got into the work and sometimes how the universe, God, whatever you believe in, leads you into moments and places and spaces that take you to that place where you say, I guess this is it. And so I really had fun indagando, talking and asking questions about her career and the work that she does. And we also got deep into witnessing suffering and how do you handle it. It was really insightful, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Y aquí está mi conversación con Elida Caballero Cabrera. Elida, welcome to Café con Pam.
Thank you so much for having me, Pam.
Thank you for coming.
Very excited.
Yeah, we have when I learned that I was interviewing you, I was like, can we have 4 hours? Like, there's so much to talk about.
Oh my God.
See, the first question we always ask is, what is your heritage?
My heritage is proud Latina. I am from Panama originally, but I've been in the US for 19 years now. I am still 500% Latina.
Panameña.
Panameña, and just a caveat, not from Panama City, but from a place called Chiriquí, which is in the border. It's in the border with Costa Rica, and you will be probably very happy to learn that that is where we produce the coffee, and it's the best coffee producer province in the whole country. So, of course, I love my cafecito.
¡Qué rico!
Yeah.
Pero el café panameño no es tan común como tipo el colombiano, ¿no?
Oh,
No es tan popular.
yes, sí, es súper popular. Creo que por los últimos 2, 3 años se ha ganado el premio al mejor geisha coffee, yes, internationally. So we're very proud of that.
How fun.
Yes.
Your city town is borderline Costa Rica. How was that? You grew up there, no?
Yeah, I grew up there. It is an hour away from the border. It's a city called David, which is the capital. And funny story always is that when I tell people that I'm from Panama, everyone assumes, like everyone assumes that you are from like the capital of the countries.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, no, I came from my tiny, tiny town directly to Washington. Never even leave in Panama City. So for me, the change was humongous when I arrived here.
What brought you to Washington? What brought you to the US?
So I always wanted to keep working on my higher education. I'm a lawyer. I studied law in Panama, I have a law degree from Panama, and always wanted to do something more. I always have that little bug about exploring the world and learning more. And I decided that I wanted to do a master's. So I came to Washington because my father used to live here. And then I quickly found a job, found the program that I wanted, and then I did a master's on international law with concentration in business. Funny enough, because I was only coming to the US for 1 year, I was only coming to
Según.
do my master's, según yo, and then I was going to go back to Panama. And what do we have in Panama? We're a financial center,
Uh-huh.
and everything it's about business. So I thought,
Yeah.
okay, let me just study. But I was lucky enough, and I think that just lately I have been believing more in science. But then I look back and I think science have always been around.
Mm.
Luckily enough, I land a job, and my boss just finished her master's couple years before that, and she recommend me to go to this American university where they had like amazing courses for masters. And then I did the concentration in finances and business. But then while I was studying, I discovered human rights. I discovered that there were human rights classes, and I was like, "What are human rights? We were never thought." I mean, law school in 2000 in Panama
Right.
City, in my tiny town, did not speak about human rights, right? And I always had to work because the real immigrant story. Even though I've always been very privileged, and I'm very thankful for that. When you come here, the reality is that you have to work,
Yeah.
and for you to be able to pay your bills. So I was always working, and I landed a job at the Academy on Human Rights of the university.
So human rights and justice found you.
Human rights and international law and justice found me, and I'm so grateful that happened to me, because I can tell you that most of my better and most amazing friendships, mis mejores amigas, I found at the university.
There.
And
Mm.
especially today, we share the same values, we share the same concerns, and we share this amazing love for each other and support that I just feel very lucky.
I love that you mentioned that because it's important to, especially I see on social media a lot of people talk about the crisis that exists with friendships and how it's like people move and migrate, which we'll talk about
Yeah.
migration and even within the US, which is the country that we currently exist in. And even when you move places, there's this lack, like how do you make friends again? And I love that you mentioned that you found them at the university because you have those lots of things in common. You care about the same things, and probably it's what keeps the friendship thread still going.
Yes, I'm a very firm believer of friendship. For me, friendships are the true love. People go around and like, oh, let me find my true love. For me, my true love, my family, my chosen family, especially since I moved, to the US and I was here by myself, has been my friends. I do still have my very good friendships from back home. I have,
Mm.
again, the privilege to be able to travel very often to Panama to see my mom, to see my friends, and I do have my really good friends there. But also, I have my friends from here. And since Washington D.C. is a very temporary city, people come, a lot of diplomats, a lot of
Yeah.
students, and then they leave. I have had a lot of times that I have tiempos de duelo when a lot of my friends leave.
Claro.
But the beautiful thing about that is I've been able to keep connecting with them. And now I have friends all over the world. So anytime that I go anywhere, I know someone, I have a friend of a friend, and I still have a very good network here, but also it's amazing to also have a network in other places when you go. So I do believe that it's very important to give time and effort.
Mm.
My really good friend's uncle, who I met at some point when he came and visit, said, a los amigos hay que dedicarles tiempo, amor y dinero. And I found that to be very true because I feel that sometimes we get so aligned with our daily work and like our relationships, our like romantic relationships, and all that. And we forget that when none of that is there, who's there to support us? ¿Quién nos presta el hombro?
Exactly.
Like who's there to hug us and listen to us? So for me, I feel like I'm a very good at keeping in touch and dedicating time to my friends.
Yeah, and I think I also have friendships. I was gonna when you mentioned, like, when they moved, and I was thinking about this, it made me think of I was talking to a friend, and I wanna go to Legoland, and she's like, "We need kids because I don't have children, and she doesn't have children." And I was like, "We don't need kids to go to Legoland." And she's like, "No, we do need kids because it was a thing at some point that, like, pedophiles would go to Legoland without
Oh,
children, and
wow.
so if you're an adult without children, it's weird, you know?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, all my friends and I started thinking, and I was like, all my friends with children are outside of San Diego.
Yeah.
I need to find friends with kids here. And so I started thinking about that when you were sharing because the power of the internet as well. You know,
Yes.
how you can still stay in touch with people that are, quote, far away and still be friends. I mean, my best friend lives in Missouri and I'm in San Diego.
Yeah.
And it's funny because sometimes we could go months without talking to each other, and then all of a sudden we send each other podcast of like updates, life, and then she's a mom of four, and so it's like 2 weeks, and she's like, "Oh, I forgot that I had a message from you. Let me get back to you." And I think also there's a lot of power with friendships and with the investment that you said, but also not putting so much pressure.
Yes.
Like understanding people have lives.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I do think that that's the beauty of like these friendships that we meet people where they are and friends meet you where you are, you know? I think 80% of my friends have kids and have, families and all that. So I understand that I might text you today and you might come back to me on Monday because, the kids.
Yeah.
And I completely understand that. But I think it's always important to be present, and remind people that you are around even though you're far away, that people can count on you, and and you're still there for them whenever they find the time. Especially these days, I do think that I friendship got me through the pandemic,
Mm,
and I do believe that my good friends, and the work that I do obviously have gotten me through our current times. So I'm a firm believer of good friendships, not expecting, but always giving.
mhm.
Yeah.
Totally. And it's so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. My very good friend always tells me that she has no expectations ever, not at work, not with people, not with friends. And that way she's not disappointed. And in this new life that I've been working on for the last probably 3 years, I have been trying to apply that as well, because we always have expectations about people. And then one day I asked myself, well, people might have expectations about me, and am I fulfilling that? We cannot live our lives trying to please everyone, and not everyone is going to like you the same way, and not everyone is going to agree with you. So why don't we just take a step back, live day by day, and see what it happens?
Agreed. I do live by that philosophy of zero expectations. And I actually when I've told people, like, I don't expect you, like, I have no expectations, but I do trust you.
Yes, exactly.
There's, like, that very distinct difference,
Yeah.
and for me, trust is super important. Like, I don't expect them to do anything, but I trust them to come through with integrity, and when that's broken, then we done.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think trust is one of loyalty. It's one of the, I mean, it's one of the most important things about life, but especially about friendship, because that's where you're putting your heart and soul when
Mhm.
when you have your friends, and that intimate space of being able to be who you are, and taking off those masks of like, this is how I portray myself at work, and this is how I portray myself in X, Y, and Z situation. You can be yourself, you can be raw. And I think for
Mhm.
me, and I always think about who are the friends where I feel most comfortable going to cry, versus it's very easy to go and have fun, go out or do something fun.
Yes.
The crisis and the cruel moments in life and the sad moments in life also teaches you who are those hombros where you can go and cry. And I think that's beautiful.
Agreed, agreed. And speaking of trust, we are currently living in a time and space in our country where trust has
Ooh,
been broken in so many ways.
yes.
I want to keep it within your story, but I have your title because you have a very long title.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. You're the Senior Director of Campaigns and Advocacy Programs at the Women's Equality Center.
Yes, I am.
It's amazing what you do. And I'm curious about, when did you realize reproductive rights was your work to carry, to deal with, to expand on, to work on?
Yeah, so going back to the signs and stories of, paying attention to signs in life. When I did my master's and joined this Academy on Human Rights, I met these amazing humans that work on human rights. They were already human rights lawyers that became friends. And I started learning, about the issue. I met amazing people that I stay in touch with and became friends. And there were a couple years in between that I was, between jobs, between the jobs that I thought I was supposed to be doing.
Mm,
And I have no regrets of all the jobs I had. I think they make me the professional that I am. I met amazing people that I still stay in touch with, and I learned a lot, but they were not fulfilling enough. One day I was at this one of these jobs that I had, and my really good friend tells me that I should apply to this position at the Center for Reproductive Rights, which is another amazing reproductive rights organization. And I said, but I don't know anything about reproductive rights. And she's like, yes, you do. You have been doing human rights, you have been getting some experience, and you have all these networks, and this is the perfect job for you. So I was doubting myself, and I must say that this friend of mine has been an inspiration and has been the one who has pushed me through professional life to be able to discover who I really am and how I can become a better person, especially at work. And I applied, and after a long process of interviews and etc., I was chosen. I got the job. And I remember be like couple months before, the thing that actually got me to decide that I was going to apply for this job is that this friend of mine was already working on this issue. And one day she tells me, I see she posts something on Facebook about women being wrongfully incarcerated in El Salvador for
mm.
having obstetric emergencies and getting sentenced to up to 40 and 50 years in prison. And I go and I said, is this true? What is happening? And she, we hop on the phone and she's like, yes, she tells me all the stories. And I started, just sharing the stories with my friends, my family, my colleagues. And I started just, I guess, being an advocate for reproductive rights before even knowing that I was advocating for reproductive
Mm.
rights, because I just thought it was crazy that this was happening. And when the opportunity arose and she told me about the position, I said, "Oh, absolutely. Let me, after doubting a little bit, let me apply." And when I got the job, I was over the moon. And after I got that job, I was able to travel to El Salvador, going to the jail and meet these women.
Wow.
And this is the moment when my life changed. This is the moment where all the outrage and anger that I have just by reading the stories just went out of control, because I met these women. I met the stories of these women being in jail, separated from their families, separated from their kids, listening the stories about not only losing their pregnancies by an obstetric emergency, by a miscarriage or a stillbirth, but also losing their freedom,
Yeah.
losing the position as a citizen in your country, losing your it was just devastating. So that day, I remember I called my friend and I told her, "You know what? I'm joining." I was already on this campaign with you without even meeting them, just hearing the stories. What can we do to keep working and make this? And she made this her life work. And currently, she is the executive director at the Women's Equality Center that she founded a couple years later and brought me to work with her here.
Wow, what a story.
Yes. I love that story because it doesn't only tackle this issue, which has become our issue, and our professional life, but also tackles so much support, so much
Mm.
solidarity, so much women empowering women, so much sisterhood.
Mhm.
And I'm always being inspired by her, but also by all the amazing women that I have met during the last 10 years that I've been doing this work, especially in Central America, where it's not really secure that you have rights in general.
Ooh.
And especially, it's really dangerous to talk about reproductive rights in certain countries because of the laws, restrictive laws that exist there. So son súper poderosas.
Sí, claro.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, as you shared your trip to El Salvador, and I'm sure you've met like hundreds, maybe thousands of women that have gone through reproductive rights and justices. How do you bear witness and still stay grounded? Like, I can't imagine. I would be a wreck.
I remember, I was told like the first time that I was going to go visit the jail, I should not schedule anything else that day.
Yeah.
I remember that, I'm very productive, right? So like if I go to a country, like, I'm having this schedule, we're meeting all of these people because we need to talk about the issue, and
Full schedule.
their full schedule. And I was like, no, I will be fine. I was devastated. I was
I'm sure.
destroyed when I visited jail for the first time. And I remember just going to the hotel and cried. I cried because I could not cry in front of these women, but I cried for like an hour. And I decided that I could not do anything else that day. I just needed to take some time and think about what I just heard, and just think about how I was going to do to fulfill my promise that they were not alone and we were going to get them released. And it has taken a couple years for me to find how I can, I mean, couple years in the current state of the world,
Mm.
on how to be able to be productive, do your work, do your job with all the love that we have, but also getting some time for yourself and getting some grounding. I recently learned something that has become one of my mantras, and is resting is an act of resistance. I wish
Yes.
I know that before, but I know now. So I do believe that it's very important for you to in order to be able to keep giving and to keep fighting, you also need to take care of yourself. And I have been doing that more and more. But it was like, then I learned every time that I will go to El Salvador and I will visit the women, that day was just visiting the women and talking to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember that one time we were able to, after several visits and several conversations, letters, requests, we were able to bring a small crew to take some pictures and video of the stories, because we first asked them, are you okay telling your story? Because if we don't tell the stories, people are not going to know that this is happening.
Yes.
And if people don't know that this is happening, we're not going to be able to engage people. And we know the power of storytelling. So they agreed. I don't know how. We got the permit from the jail and we filmed them, got their stories, got some videos. But I remember taking a picture with all of them. And that picture sit in front of my desk until
Oh,
the last one was released 4 years ago. And it was beautiful to see that picture. Every time I look at them, it was, for me, it was a reminder of what we needed to do, but also it was a reminder that injustices happen all the time and we need to be there. We need to be able to use the privilege that we have to do something for the people that don't have a voice. So then when the last one was released, I took a picture of all of them free and I just put it instead of the one in jail.
oh my
It was
gosh.
beautiful. Yeah.
Wow. How long did it take for all of them to be released?
It took a village. It took a village for them. The last one was released. The last one from that group that we found, that it was like more than 66 women,
Wow.
was 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. And unfortunately, now we're seeing new cases of criminalization of women for having obstetric emergencies because of the new laws in El Salvador, and the lack of due process and the mass incarceration and all that,
Mm.
which is very worrisome, because we thought that after we released the last one, we were just going to start working on reparations and how to make the state to give them something back from what they were robbed. And we're still working on that, but it's just been very worrisome because in the last year we have had more than 12 cases. Fortunately, majority of them are awaiting their processes outside of the jail, like in freedom. But we still have 3 women that are in jail. So it is really upsetting and sad that it took us more than 9+ years to release these women. And now we're seeing more cases coming back.
But they would still be there
Yes.
if you didn't do anything.
Yes, I think it is amazing. I mean, Paula, which is our executive director, really made the mission of her life to take these women out of jail. And it was a coalition and it was a group effort of many, many activists, many, many organizations, regional and nationally, people that took time from their daily lives to come and speak about it, to meet the women, to tell the story. So when I said it took a village, it took a village. Every single release
Mm.
took so many people. But absolutely, I believe that if we did not elevate the stories and bring the stories out to the public, they will still be there.
For sure.
Yeah. And today, at least that big group, like all of them are out. Uh, la reinserción a la sociedad was really
A la
hard.
sociedad, claro.
Porque entonces tienes
Oh.
un récord policivo, entonces no puedes conseguir trabajo. So it's been a roller coaster, but one beautiful story that I always also share is that the sorority among them.
Mm.
And every time one of the women will come out of jail, she will tell the other ones, and in different levels, because not everyone is as comfortable as others speaking out, but we'll tell the other ones, no worries, I will do something publicly or privately to keep fighting for you guys to also come out.
Yes.
And one of the women that was released a couple years ago, Theodora, which is a powerhouse, when she came out and went through the whole readaptation to society and saw how hard it was, she decided to open a house for the women
Wow.
that are coming out of jail, to give them a home, to help them, explain to them what is Facebook, what is this,
La
Instagram, what is
transición,
WhatsApp,
claro.
todo, porque claro, adentro no tienes nada.
O sea, el tiempo se congeló, ¿no?
Sí, y además te puedes imaginar las condiciones de una cárcel en El Salvador.
Total. Oh my God.
Em,
No me puedo imaginar, pero I can think about it. Uf.
and it's rough. Entonces, to have someone that went through that and was able to manage and help them to readapt, and some like every story is different. Algunas volvieron y tenían a su familia ahí, pero otras estaban marcadas y su familia ya no quería con ellas, a pesar de que fue una emergencia, a pesar de que fueron
Claro.
injustamente condenadas, pero es nuestra comunidad latina, machista, que no entiende que estas cosas pueden pasar. Entonces, algunas de ellas son súper públicas y hablan del tema y se han convertido en activistas sobre el tema. Y otras, un poco más pasivas, igual apoyan a las compañeras. Pero just the fact that someone that went through that comes out and decides, you know what? I'm going to make the mission of my life to help the women that went through the same thing I went through to get a better reinserción a la sociedad. It's just
That's
powerful.
power.
That's power. And those are the things that keep inspiring me to keep doing this work.
Totalmente. Porque sí. Oh my gosh. No voy a
Yeah.
decir más porque es así como que my drug right there.
Yeah.
Ok,
Yeah.
Elida, vamos a hacer un coffee break.
Perfect.
This is a good time for a little coffee break.
Sabrosura pa' ti que
A ver, tomamos café. Cuéntame cómo tomas tu café.
Yo tomo café
Ooh,
muy
I love your
fuerte.
cup, your feminist cup.
Yes.
Yes.
Tomo mucho café. Desde chiquita tomaba, me daban leche con café y pan, entonces
Okay.
yo crecí tomando café y hoy en día me puedo tomar unas 6 tazas de café al día.
No puede ser.
Mi primer café en la mañana es sin nada, solo café puro, y durante el día voy como me sienta, un iced coffee en la tarde si hace calor, o un café con leche.
Pero todo el día estás tomando café y no te
Todo
afecta.
el día. No me afecta. Yo me puedo tomar un espresso a las 10 de la noche y a las 10:30 estar durmiendo.
I wish.
Pero si no me tomo el café en la mañana, no me despierta el cerebro. Creo que es algo psicológico.
Oh, interesting. Entonces no tienes como un favorite way to brew it. Es así como que whatever the mood strikes.
Sí, whatever the mood, pero tengo la French press, tengo la italiana,
Nice.
tengo el dripping, tengo la automática, tengo todo, porque me encanta el café. O sea, pero me encanta el café de cualquier forma.
And do you have a ritual? Like when you make your first cup of coffee, do you like make it ritualistic or is it más como que rápido de lo que voy?
No, in the last like 3 years, I started meditating. So I wake up and the first thing I do is meditate.
Mm.
And then I get up, I brush my teeth and then come and prep my coffee. And then I start listening to the news in the morning and reading some papers with my coffee. And then after that, I try to get like a workout in. So, but like my coffee usually is like the second thing I do, with some getting into what's happening in the world. I need coffee for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, you definitely need something.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you have a favorite you're in DC, so do you have a favorite coffee shop that you wanna support? That you wanna give give 'em a shout out?
Oh, yes. I want to support Cafe Unido, which is a Panamanian coffee shop that opened here in DC a couple years ago. And
Nice!
it's that little corner from home here. They do great coffee, of course, because it's Panamanian coffee. What can I tell you? And they're like located in a very cozy place that is surrounded by Latino restaurants.
Nice.
So it's a whole Latino compound, and I just feel amazing every time I go.
Qué rico. Is there like a like a signature pastry that goes with coffee in Panama? Como en Peru es el alcabor, ¿no? En Mexico es
Sí.
la concha. Like,
Uf,
is there a
amo las
thing?
conchas, o sea, amo.
Yo también,
Eh,
it's a problem.
it's a problem. Em, Depende, porque en Panamá, si tomas el café en el desayuno, puedes tomarte el café con una hojaldra o con una
Mm.
empanada.
Ooh.
Y si te lo tomas en la tarde, pues te lo comes con cualquier dulce o una galletita. Creo que el café solo está en cualquier momento del día. No
Mhm.
necesita acompañante.
Claro, totalmente. Okay, on my end, I'm drinking, my extravagant it's not extra yeah, it's more like extra concoction of cacao. I brew it with lots of herbs,
Oh, wow.
and then, throughout like, as I'm drinking it, I'm, like, pouring coffee in it, so it ends up like, it starts being cacao in the morning, and then it
Oh,
ends up being cafe.
oh, wow. I heard in one of your podcasts that you were explaining about the cacao, and I was like, how do you make cacao? And that sound, I mean, I love chocolate, but I've never made cacao with anything in my house. And
Yeah.
I was just, I heard you mix it with lavender.
Yeah, you can mix it with anything. So, basically, the cacao is or, like, I use pure cacao, which comes from the cacao fruit. There's the cacao beans that come from the cacao fruit.
Yeah.
Those get roasted, como el café. Those
Uh-huh.
get roasted, and then se muelen. And yo aprendí a hacer cacao traditionally with Mexican women, and let me show you the picture. And ellas lo muelen con un petate,
Claro.
y entonces ahí se hace la pasta del cacao. Which that because it's cacao has a lot of delicious, beautiful minerals and, like, great things for ourselves. Like, it has a lot of magnesium and zinc, and it has fats
Oh, wow.
and theobromine that's great for the heart, and so it has a lot of, like, really cool things. And so as mientras se muele en el petate, entonces ahí
Ah,
le empieza a salir toda la fat que tiene el cacao, y por eso se
okay.
hace como una pastita. Y
Oh,
esa pastita, con el calor, se derrite, and so I brew like a tea, and then I have the cacao, and then as you put hot water in it, se derrite, se hace como un chocolate.
wow. Claro, no es chocolate powder that you buy in the store.
No, 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 it's cacao, cacao.
I love it. Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's really cool, and this is what the beans look like as they are freshly roasted.
Oh, wow. Yes, just like coffee. Because we also have cacao in Panama, but I never seen like the process. And this is just so cool.
See, I mean, my ADHD, I geek out on things that I'm like that I love. So, la historia del cacao es muy interesante actually because the it started with I mean, it's el cacao is mesoamericano. It's not,
Claro, sí.
some people are like it's Mexican and it's Ecuadorian and el cacao es mesoamericano, o sea,
Sí, total.
and what happened is that I mean, migration, going back to how everything migrates, birds
Yes,
started carrying or eating, and so the seeds were like scrambled all over. So cacao is found
everywhere.
en Perú, en Ecuador, o
Yeah.
sea, todo hasta México, lo que consideramos, pero at the time, it wasn't any of those countries, it was just Mesoamerica, ¿no?
Claro.
And the Mayans used to use it as currency.
Yes.
Y chocolatl, que viene del náhuatl, I believe,
Yes.
significa bitter drink.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Ujú.
La cultura latinoamericana es espectacular,
Súper rica.
súper rica, pero debo confesar que yo tengo una pequeña obsesión con México. Amo, amo ese país. Y cada vez que conozco un lugar nuevo es como, wow, o sea, tan distinto del otro, con una cultura tan
Súper.
rica y tan variada, es wow.
Es súper, súper interesante. And the reason why I fell in love with cacao, I don't know if I've shared this, is literally when I learned the story of cacao and how when colonization was happening and the Spanish were stealing everything, culture, language, people, land,
Yeah.
cacao was some of that. There's diaries of conquistadores que dicen, ¿no? O sea, no entendían por qué, quote, the natives would be picking up these almond-sized beans, and it was semillas de cacao because it was currency, and it was like this very ceremonial drink that they would give to Moctezuma. Incluso hay historias que Moctezuma, que es uno de los emperadores mexicas,
Sí.
que él tenía una virilidad muy fuerte porque se la pasaba tomando cacao.
Ah,
O sea,
wow.
él tomaba cacao todo el tiempo y por eso tenía tantas mujeres y por eso aguantaba con tantas mujeres, porque el cacao era lo que le daba con la teobromina. La teobromina it's a compound that opens up your blood flow. And so, el cacao a don Moctezuma le ayudaba mucho a, keep up with everything he had to do.
History facts.
Yes. Pero lo que iba a contar del cacao, y ya, and then we'll get back to the show, es, que algo que a mí me encantó muchísimo es cuando yo aprendí que el cacao crece abajo de los árboles.
Sí.
Entonces, and we call her mama cacao because it's the energy of the plant of cacao is feminine because she's very nurturing and she's motherly and she cleared my womb. I healed my womb with cacao. And that's for a whole other podcast. But what I loved is that she as migration was happening and her seeds were scattered, and then her also she was exploited because eventually she was found, taken to Spain, and then the Hershey's Corporation started exploiting it. That's how cacao got to Africa.
Mm.
She, with her strength and her power, she was like, I'm going to survive, so I'm going to allow trees to hold me.
Yeah.
And asked for, like, she basically asked help from the trees. And so I can geek out more on it, but let's stop.
But I love that you mentioned the ceremonies with cacao because I have really good friends in Mexico that have share and they have done them, and I'm like, they're on my list for
You should
my
do it.
future trips, and I'm just very excited.
Yeah, you definitely do it. Let me know when you do it, and your life is gonna change. So I drink cacao every day. Okay, let's get back to the show. If you've started making your cafecitos at home to get on with that morning routine and build the habit of saving money, it could be a good strategy. Pero there might be an easier way to save. Did you know that if you open a new savings builder account at BMO, you can earn a $5 reward every month you grow your balance by $200 or more during the first year? Learn more about how BMO can help you grow your savings by visiting bmo.com/save. bmo.com/save. Conditions apply. Accounts provided in the United States by BMO Bank and a member FDIC. Let's talk about something we all deserve: financial empowerment. Whether you're tackling debt, planning for retirement, or starting that dream business, navigating your finances can feel overwhelming. But it doesn't have to be, thanks to Savvy Ladies. Savvy Ladies is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping women like you take control of your financial future. They offer free resources, webinars, and my favorite, a free financial helpline. where you can connect one-on-one with trusted financial experts. And yes, it's completely free. Whether you're just starting your financial journey or need guidance on a specific challenge, Savvy Ladies is here to provide quality and trusted advice you can count on. So why wait? Visit savvyladies.org today and connect with the financial helpline to get the personalized support you deserve. Your journey to financial independence starts here. That is savvyladies.org. Your path to financial freedom can start today. That was a very long cafecito break, but I think it's fun. So I think we were talking about the criminalization of women as they've when it comes to reproductive rights. And I think something that's worth mentioning, and I would love to hear your take on it, is how do you think Latin American and US movements when it comes to reproductive rights can learn from each other? Because I could see people listening be like, well, what is El Salvador? ¿Qué tiene que ver conmigo, no? And I think there's a lot, but I would love to hear what you have to say.
No, this is a great segue, because I do think that, especially in the current context of the US Latin American relations, it is very important to understand how everything is so interconnected. Cuando nosotros comenzamos a hacer este trabajo, nosotros nos dimos cuenta de que los grupos que oponen el freedom of choice and reproductive rights tenían los mismos discursos y los adaptaban a diferentes países donde trabajaban. In our monitoring work, we will hear the same speech about gender ideology coming from like Poland in Polish, and then we heard it in Argentina in Español, and then we heard it in Honduras, and then we also heard here in the United States. Y empezamos a atar cabos, and then we realized they're all interconnected. And Latin America as a region is very interconnected. Like the activists, their rep organizations, the human rights movement in general is very interconnected. Pero eso se acababa en la frontera.
Wow.
Because the US was protected by Roe for the last 60 years.
Yes,
Pero for the
claro.
last 60 years, Latin American activists have been fighting and pushing and creating and sharing lessons and experiences in order to be able to get some freedoms of on reproductive rights on abortion, etc. Y cuando estábamos aquí conversando una vez at WEC, at the organization, and we were trying to put all these dots together. And then we said, we need to start a conversation from the South to the North. We need to make people understanding that this is a transnational issue. This is not a Latin American issue, a US issue. No, this is a transnational issue, and we need to treat it like that. So one of the first things that happened was that, the Marea Verde starting erupting.
Y empezó en Argentina, ¿no?
Empezó en Argentina, es el movimiento de aborto que comienza en Argentina, que se inspira en el movimiento de las madres de la Plaza de Mayo, que habían perdido a sus hijos durante la dictadura y que todas las semanas se reunían a protestar con un pañuelo blanco. Cuando el movimiento de la Marea Verde comienza en Argentina, deciden tomar prestado el símbolo del pañuelo blanco, pero hacerlo verde, porque verde es el color de la salud y verde es el color de la vida.
Yes.
Y así empieza el green bandana o el pañuelo verde, que representa a la Marea Verde o al movimiento de derechos reproductivos y aborto. What is beautiful about the pañuelo, and I always like to emphasize this, is that the pañuelo doesn't belong to a country, to an organization, to an activist, to a person. el pañuelo belongs to everyone that supports and fights for reproductive justice, por el derecho a decidir. And the beautiful thing is that you see a pañuelo con logos de diferentes organizaciones. You see a pañuelo en español, a pañuelo en inglés, a pañuelo en portugués, with whatever you want to put in there. But the main symbol is the green pañuelo, the green bandana. And when you see someone carrying it, you know, it's like a sign. It's like
Yes.
de que we're together in this. Y esa marea fue viniendo para el resto de América Latina. Comienza en Argentina durante la pandemia. Despenalizan aborto en Argentina durante la pandemia. Y lo que siempre digo, con papa católico. Así que siempre la narrativa y el contexto de que, uy, no, porque es un país muy católico, no, eso no funciona.
Claro.
Entonces comienza en Argentina en el 2020 y luego viene Colombia, que también ya tenía despenalizado el aborto en causales y lo logra despenalizar, a expandir, ampliar esta despenalización en el 2022 y luego nos vamos a México, que en este momento es como el beacon, el ejemplo de avance en derechos sexuales y reproductivos y aborto para toda la región y pues para el mundo. Ya sabíamos que Ciudad de México tenía el aborto despenalizado desde el 2007 y en muchos estados, pero luego viene una decisión maravillosa de la Corte Suprema de Justicia que dice que es inconstitucional criminalizar a las mujeres por tener un aborto.
Yes.
Y esto fue un antes y un después para México. Después de que eso sucedió, en México ya tenemos 26 estados que han despenalizado.
De 31, ¿no?
Sí, entonces ha sido uno tras el otro. Ha sido un trabajo de muchas organizaciones y de muchas activistas, pero ha sido y sigue siendo el ejemplo para el resto de la región de que la lucha continúa. Nosotros desafortunadamente aún tenemos países en la región que criminalizan el aborto en cualquier circunstancia, ni siquiera para salvar la vida de una mujer que está en peligro.
Wild.
Es terrible, es terrible. Tenemos casos dolorosísimos. Tenemos un caso en República Dominicana donde una chica joven, Esperancita, 16 años, con un cáncer y un embarazo, no le dieron tratamiento para el cáncer porque iba a afectar el embarazo.
Por el embarazo. Oh my gosh.
Y Esperancita muere a los 16 años. Su mamá, doña Rosa, se ha convertido en una de las más feroces activistas y una de las mujeres que yo más admiro, porque dijo que hasta el día que ella se muera, ella va a compartir la historia de su hija para que eso no vuelva a pasar.
Yes.
En el país se sigue criminalizando el aborto en todas las circunstancias. En países como El Salvador y Honduras también hay penalización total del aborto. Es más, Honduras apenas acaba de legalizar el uso de el Next Day Pill o de la pastilla de anticoncepción de emergencia hace 2 años.
Wow.
Solamente hasta ahora. Entonces, ni siquiera hemos llegado a hablar de aborto y es uno de los países con las más altas tasas de violencia sexual en la región.
Oh.
Entonces, seguimos teniendo países con esta criminalización y nosotros le llamamos a esta criminalización de la pobreza. ¿Por qué? Porque una persona con privilegios y con medios se va a Argentina, se va a Colombia,
Claro.
antes venían a Miami y podían tener un servicio al aborto. Pero las mujeres que no tienen educación, que no tienen la facilidad financiera, los recursos y que no saben, son las que tienen estas emergencias obstétricas, son las que se mueren. Entonces siempre decimos que prohibir el aborto en estos países, pero en general es criminalizar la pobreza.
Y pasa aquí en the US.
Claro, ahora, y ahí va, porque creo que es súper importante hacer la conexión. Mientras todo esto está pasando en América Latina, de que Argentina, Colombia, México avanza y hasta Honduras tiene un avance con la anticoncepción oral de emergencia, then Roe falls. Y se cae Roe y nos quedamos entonces sin protecciones en este país.
I was depressed when that happened.
Oh my God. we were having the conversation, and we thought, I mean, we know it was possible, but it was just so out of this world.
Totalmente.
But the interesting thing is that we have been talking about how the US could become a country like El Salvador or Honduras and the DR, where women are criminalized and sent to jail and died because of lack of access to abortion before it happened. And then it happened. So when it happened, we started saying, oh my God, the cases in Texas are the cases from El Salvador. The women that are wrongfully incarcerated in Texas for having an obstetric emergency or a miscarriage are the cases from the women in El Salvador. The cases of women that are not getting any treatment for the
Mm-hmm.
cancer or any other condition are the cases of the Dominican Republic.
Mm-hmm.
So this is again the importance of not having segmented conversations. This is a global problem. It's a transnational problem, and we need to treat it as a transnational movement and get together. So when we saw that, we started something called the Green Wave Gathering. And then what we did is that we brought activists from Latin America on the reproductive rights movement to
Yes.
speak to US reproductive rights activists and US reproductive rights organization. And it was fantastic. The first one we did here in Washington, D.C. We had more than 80 activists
Wow.
in panels and in conversation and with all the translation required so people could have conversation.
Se me
And I
imagino.
think it was a testament of what we knew, that there was eagerness in sharing experiences, there was a need and a desire of sharing lessons learned and how they can start working together, especially since one of the populations that is most affected by these bans in the United States are Latina women, immigrant women, undocumented women, and Black women. So it was a fantastic conversation. And we saw such a success that then we did a second one in Mexico City. Let's do also another one here so we can keep talking from south to north and not
Claro.
only from north to south as we have done for a long time.
Mhm.
And it was beautiful as well. We had even more people. I think for that one we had 120. And for me, the biggest lesson from the Green Wave Gathering is that in the United States, activists are kind of like, what happened?
Mm.
We were protected for such a long time and suddenly we have nothing. And it's just like,
Yeah.
wow. And seeing our activists from Latin America that had to fight for every little right that they do,
Yeah.
sharing their stories and tactics and all that was again the outcome that we wanted. Like, and now they have conversations, they invite people all over the region for panels. So like there was that connection that just needed like a little push.
Mm.
And it happened, and it's just beautiful to see.
I love that.
Yeah,
It's so much.
it's
There's
I
so
love my
much
job
there.
though. I must say that I have an amazing job, which I love.
For sure, totally. No, and I think it's necessary, and I love how you're merging, quote, "different worlds" together and learning from one another and modeling behavior because I think about as I was prepping for this interview, I was like, I used to go to like protest and I grew up in Mexico City. So I used to go to protest all the time, like literally
Yeah,
like all the time. But in the US, I can't make I'm scared to go because I don't want to die. Like, 'cause in Mexico, there's no guns, like there are here. And so there's
yeah,
this fear that I have here. But I think there's other ways that I do activism
yeah,
like I write to my elected official. Like there's so many other ways. And with that, I think there's also the people here listening, there's fear also as to like, what can I do and what can I like, especially if they're in states like Texas or
yeah,
like Adriana Smith, who was kept literally.
Yeah.
on a ventilator just to give birth to a baby that, who knows? I haven't followed the story after she passed, but at the time I was like, who knows if this baby is going to survive? That's an injustice to women's bodies.
That is just so cruel. And it's treating women like incubadoras. We're just incubators.
Mhm.
And it keeps highlighting something that we also said a lot. This is not about abortion. This is not about LGBTQ rights. This is about power and control over our bodies.
Yes.
They are not going to stop an abortion. And we have proof now that that's their goal. That was not their main goal. So it's all about building a world where people like you and me don't fit because we have a different color, skin color, because we have an accent, and because we have different beliefs. And it is just such an inhumane treatment to women and girls when this happened. When I saw that case, I just thought so much about Doña Rosa and Esperancita in the Dominican Republic
Exacto.
because it was just so heartbreaking, you know? And I think that is very important to highlight that again, and I think I started the conversation with this, is I understand the fear. I have had, for the first time after 19 years living here, I have experienced fear. But the group of people that have the privilege to be able to go to a protest or to be able to call your senators or could be able to donate to an abortion fund. There are so many different ways where you can act, but we need to act. But especially we need to denounce these acts
Yes.
because this is inhumane. I mean, not only the total abortion bans, but the immigrant rates. I mean, all the things that are happening right now, we need to get together and being able to denounce that this is not normal. I think normalization is one of the most dangerous things that happen. People are just normalizing because we're tired. I mean, it's just been 6 months and 7 months, we're exhausted.
I know.
But every time I get exhausted and I get sad, I mean, I've been very sad and have had my moments as everyone that I think cares about something. I've been anger, sad, all the feelings.
Mhm.
But then
Mhm.
I started thinking about the morenas in my life, like Morena Herrera, one of the most fearful activists from El Salvador, or about Regina, that for 12 years in Honduras, she fought for abortion and emergency contraception under a dictatorship, or about Marta Lanis in Argentina. So these are people that inspire me because I have seen them fight regardless of the context. So they are an inspiration for me to be like, okay, maybe I'll take some time to, get myself together, to ground,
Mhm.
but then I'll come back and then I'm going to keep doing this work because I cannot stay silent. I mean, as a Latina, as an immigrant, as a lawyer, as a human rights activist, as a someone that believe that a better world is possible, I cannot stay silent. And one last thing that I will say is that in one of those exchanges that we do for work, we also prompt conversations between policymakers from the U.S. with Latin American ones. We have done some legislative trips with some of our partners, and we had a trip in January that we planned for like 6 months, and
Wow.
we knew that it could be a fantastic one or it could be rough.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it was the second one, and we were visiting Georgia and we were visiting Washington, D.C. And and this was, we have legislators from Mexico and Argentina. And, they were having conversations. And at the end, we always do like a final get together to hear what our members have to say. And one
Como un
of
debrief?
them, on the brief, exacto. And una de ellas was like, oh my God, I'm very grateful for this trip because I've been able to understand and learn about the US, but I leave back to my country feeling más orgullosa de lo que hemos alcanzado en América Latina for women's rights, eh, por todas las políticas en,
Yeah.
en favor de las mujeres. We have maternity leave, we have childcare.
Hmm.
Health is a right, a human right in Latin America. And see that in the US, the land of the opportunity and the free and all this, women don't have
Según.
any of this. Make me realize, get this, make me realize that the American dream does not include women.
Oh.
Mic
Oof.
drop moment. Mic drop moment. I was like, wow, you're totally right. How people are expecting women to have kids here if you're supposed to go to work 3 days after
Claro.
you give birth, and then pagar cuánto cuesta on childcare. It's probably your whole salary. You don't have your support
Totalmente.
system como en América Latina, que está la tía, la abuela, el primo, todo el mundo. No, you don't have, you're by yourself here.
Hmm.
And you're criticizing women and people for not wanting to have kids, for not wanting to have children. You, I mean, there's nothing. So for me, that was a mic drop moment, and I I keep having that line in my head. Um,
Yeah.
that I know Latin America tiene todavía muchos defectos, like so many things to advance, so many things to move forward, and the fight is still there. But it made me feel very proud that we also have a lot of things that protect us, and that the fight that our activists and ancestras and guerreras por muchos años dieron la lucha, tiene hoy en día estos outcomes. Entonces,
Wow. Oh my gosh. We can close there. But I have a question about hope. So, given that like our existence is very layered and intersectional, we have cross border families, mixed status families, we have all of the things. What current protections or reforms give you hope for the listeners to be like, it's hard, but hay una luz al final?
I do believe in hope, porque si no, no podría trabajar en esto.
Sí.
But I don't think I have hope on policies or not. No. I have hope in people. Tengo esperanza en la gente. It gives me hope to see 80-year-old people protesting with their little signs saying, I have been
I
fighting for this
know.
for the last 60 years. It gives me hope to see our white people neighbors going out and denouncing and being the protest. It gives me hope to see the young people coming out and voting on a special election. I do think the hope has to be in the people, and the people need to call all of our policymakers and make them accountable for what we voted them to do.
Mhm.
Nosotros somos sus jefes. Nosotros los pusimos allí. Entonces, nosotros mandamos a lo que ellos tienen que hacer. Entonces, yo no tengo un hope en un policymaker, en un policy, en un law. No. I have hope in the people. And I know the people are keep coming out y protestar y denunciar y proteger. Para mí escuchar, sobre todo aquí en DC, por ejemplo, que cuando empezaron las redadas a escuelas, elementary schools, los padres de familia con documentos hacían cadenas humanas para que las familias indocumentadas pudieran salir protegidas de la escuela con sus niños. Hasta me dan ganas de llorar. Eso para mí es la esperanza que tenemos que compartir entre nosotros. Que la gente, la gente que tiene el privilegio pueda poner el pecho para proteger a la gente que no lo tiene. Y eso para mí es the beautiful thing about humanity.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Just one tiny, o sea, cada quien puede poner su granito de arena, ¿no?
Sí, sí, creo que sí. Decían en mi pueblo, una golondrina no hace verano, pero varias sí.
Yes, yes, yes. Y creo que algo que nos recordaste con todo lo que dijiste es que with privilege comes responsibility. And so
Absolutely.
everyone has some level of privilege. And so, like, figure it out. There's always something que se puede hacer. Always rest is resistance. Take a nap if you need to. But then once you're resourced, come back, and it's the only way.
No, it's the only way. And I do think that it's the more you share and the more you get people to know, the more people are going to get familiar and the more people les va a importar. Yo tengo una gran amiga que decía, "Ay, you're always into politics. I'm not into politics." Y yo le decía, politics is personal, my friend. And
Yes.
you think those policies are not going to affect you? They will. Or they will affect someone that you know. For the last year and a half, I've been so proud of her because she has become this little digital activist and like calling out people in
Nice.
her life. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. So those things, again, going back to the hope, gives me hope because people are caring. People are understanding that this is inhumane, que esto es cruel, que esto es degradante, que esto no es normal y que we have to fight.
Totalmente. And the only way to do it is to do it.
Yeah.
Bueno, Elida, thank you so much. Last 2 questions.
Perfect.
Do you have a remedio that you want to share with us?
So I was thinking about that when I read it, and I was like, "What remedio? I don't know." But I'm going to share my own personal remedy:
Please.
coffee, dancing, and meditation.
Yes.
I love dancing. I love music. And when I'm sad, I put music. When I'm happy, I put music on. Music, it's like my thing.
It's a very somatic way.
Yeah, music is a healing power. Let me say that.
Mhm. El bailar y la música, if we look at Latin American countries, music is with us
Yeah,
siempre, ¿no? And it's something that heals us, like, a lot.
yeah.
Y what's your quote or mantra that you live by right now?
So, as I mentioned, I've been in this journey of like meditating, grounding myself since the pandemic. And when I started meditating, I keep telling everyone that that changed my life. So, everyone who hasn't should meditate and try. And I do think that it's very important to ground yourself and be more calm. But one of the things that I learned is that you need to release and trust. Soltar y confiar.
Mm,
Uh, and I even have one of my friends make me a Giphy with me doing this, like soltar y confiar, and it's all over WhatsApp.
I love that.
And the other one que para mí es súper importante también es todo llega para quien sabe esperar.
Uy, me encanta.
So, esos dos son mis mantras.
Todo llega para quien sabe.
Esperar.
Elida, thank you so much for coming to Café con Pam.
No,
This was a
thank
lot of fun.
you. I love it. I love it. I love it. Wasn't my official language, Spanglish, and it was such
Sí,
a pleasure to share this time with you. And thank you so much, Pam. And I love your podcast. It's so good.
thank you. ¿Dónde te podemos encontrar? Where can we find the Women's Equality Center? All the things. Give us all the things, all the links to connect. And where can we get involved? All the things.
Absolutely. So you can find us on our website, which is very small. It's laweg.org, laweg.org.
We'll have it in the show notes.
Yeah. And then, how can you get involved? Again, you have an abortion fund near you, donate to an abortion fund. If you want to know more about the stories of El Salvador, please write to us. We can share them with you. We have amazing, powerful stories that you can learn from and then help keep highlighting and visibilizing. And also, just keep getting informed here. If you live here in the United States, and don't be de oídos sordos. Get to know and keep supporting and denouncing what's happening here. And especially if you're an immigrant, also support the immigrant organizations. Like, we are in all this together. And I think it's an intersectional work. So all of that.
Todo está entrelazado totalmente.
Thanks.
Bueno, thank you so, so much for coming to Café con Pam. This was awesome.
Thank you, Pam. Have a great week.
Okay, listeners, that was my conversation. If this moved you in any way, screenshot, tag us on social media at Café con Pam Podcast on all the places and spaces. If this podcast has ever inspired you in some way, additionally to just this conversation, please support. We appreciate when you do because it's a way for us to keep going. Free ways to support us: leave a rating, review, drop a comment, subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube, if you are listening on your podcast platform. Also subscribe, follow, because all of that helps us stay afloat and all of that helps other people discover us as well. So little tiny actions that can help a lot. And share with someone. Who knows? Share with someone. Paid ways that you can actually, if you feel called to support us in an additional way, you can join the Supporters Club to get ad-free episodes except for annual sponsors. And also, from time to time, I drop exclusive content just for you. And an example would be those in the Supporters Club got Verano con Self-Love binge episodes all at once. So you don't have to wait week after week to listen to the next story. It's only $5 a month. You buy me coffee once a month and I drop a lot of additional things for you. Win-win for sure. You can also check out my work, cafeconpam.com. That's where you can find out all the things that we have going on. You can also, if you're part of an organization, you can hire me to speak at your company. You know, I created and developed the methodology of calladita culture. And this is where I talk about unsilencing, unmuting our voices, and making sure that we are heard and seen, and we stand in our power and we speak our truth. And so I love doing this publicly with other people. We do fun exercises to help our voice get clear and out there in the world because we deserve to be heard. All of our stories deserve to be told. So hire me to come to your org. Hispanic Heritage Month is coming. Let's make it happen. And thank you so, so much for listening. Nos vemos prontito. Y como siempre, sigue brillando.
Sabrosura pa' ti que